Hello everyone, welcome back, and today we're going to be covering the Iron Whale on the 80% tutorial for Bounding Soul. Now Iron Whale is, I would say it's middle of the road, kind of like not too difficult, but there are moments in it that are pretty tense. And there's some new tricks. There's definitely some difficult stuff in here, but for the most part it feels like a breeze kind of stage. You can generally handle things that go wrong. You can react to anything before it becomes too much of a mess. Now you also have some options in this stage. There are a couple rooms with very comparable tricks. So specifically we're talking about one coming up in a moment with either dashing through eels or using the Bounding Soul. And then later on we'll be covering a couple different ways you can handle Bertha. And these will basically come down to preference, and I'm kind of set in my own ways. You can see me fumbling around a bit here. Like I said, so long as you know how to react accordingly to what happens, you don't have to worry about, getting yourself killed if you have a bit more of a bit more wherewithal. And two general rules that you want to keep in mind while you're going through this stage is right around here, you want to look at how much money you have, and I'm actually really short for whatever reason. So I went and grabbed that wall gem, and there's another one right behind it. So there's 400 gold over there that you can easily pick up. Again, I really don't encourage breaking checkpoints. That's something that can really bite you later if you're not fully comfortable with the stage. And there's plenty of ways to make fatal mistakes as well. The other thing about this stage is that it's an underwater stage. Although I've been kind of moving around normally, you do fall down slower in the water. So you want to try and minimize moments where the water will prevent you from moving to the exit of the room. So this is everyone's favorite friend. This is a 420 fish, officially known as the Teethalon. I decided to go for a kill using the corner volley of Bounding Souls. And I also left those bubbles up just in case I did a dash attack to finish him off and I wasn't actually going to bounce off at the last moment. So that prevented me from dying there, and that's something that I want people to practice. It's entirely free to go for, just to leave those couple bubbles there so you can land there in case you get a clean dash through the last hit. And now we have our favorite. This is Bertha, and this room did not go 100% according to plan. I did get the intro proper, which can be difficult. Not getting that whiff dash attack is not the biggest deal. However, not jumping right there really gave me a heart attack. It put me in quite the situation there, and again, I managed to react to save myself, but that's ideally something you won't have to deal with, and I will cover the proper way to handle that room from start to finish. And missiles are on global cycles, so sometimes you can get really lucky and get through that room extremely quickly. Other times you might have to use Judgment Rush to kind of buffer yourself in the air. If you do that, then you'll also need to make sure you find mana. That said, 3 basketballs at the beginning is probably more than enough to finish off Treasure Boy here. He goes down pretty quick with souls. So in this first room, we're looking to get a double dash off of this, what appears to be an electrified orbed version of these soul lanterns. It floats on top of the water, and all you're looking to do is mash out a small hop, grind, and then position yourself accordingly for a dash downwards and upwards. And this one's actually really easy because of the fact that the floating lantern there moves forward as you hit it. If you want to minimize on frames lost, you can try to make it so that your second dash attack leaves you higher up toward the ledge so that you hop immediately instead of having to climb. Now for this room, you can still use the alternative strat of clinging to the right while jumping and then Judgment Rushing, which will automatically target the higher snail. However, if you mash Judgment Rush, this is the fastest option. Hold left to make sure you grab the wall as soon as possible, and then use a cut to quickly get back into a railing state. The sooner you land, the sooner you break the bubbles, the sooner you get out of this room. You won't get hit by that eel. Now this room's pretty simple, just hold down right. But in the next room we got Snail Parade Skip, and shout outs to Steelheart, who did make this trick a lot easier to go for. As you enter this transition, hold down and down only. You don't want to hold forward at all anymore. This slows your forward movement a little bit. You want to pay attention to when Specter is basically right underneath this second snail. There's a small line in the background. That's when I pressed my dash attack. Now whether or not you pressed it correctly, you want to hold left after you do your dash attack. If you did it right, when you hold left, you'll get damaged by the snail, and then you get a really quick damage boost and you can just ride on out of here. Otherwise, you'll just actually bounce off of him. You can just damage yourself off of the snail that is currently climbing down on the leftmost pillar. So here's your snail parade skip at full speed, dash left, and then you just skate straight on out. Now for the next trick we're going to be talking about, that would be what used to be the Judgment Rush Tentacle Room. You can see shortly after landing that I do one whack on the brick to weaken it. The second one is delayed just a little bit to clear the manta out of the way. As I grind, I do one cut to push myself away, and this is to space myself away from the tentacle. Then I jump and wait until I am a little bit closer to the ground before I do my first dash attack, cut straight through the tentacle. My second one will hit the flying manta on the left, and then I wait until I fall down lower and I do a dash attack on the bottom tentacle. Make sure that you are grinding, make absolutely sure that you're grinding. I have accidentally walked out onto those spikes and it's a sad time. Now you can see as we redo this room, this time I have Bounding Soul equipped, and that's because there's a trick that was found by Patois. This trick is very comparable to the way I just did the room. However, I struggle a lot with this trick. Spacing yourself to nail the shot quickly can be difficult. You're starting out very similarly. You're cutting this brick once again to get out of the way. However, this time instead of going forward, you're going to be breaking the brick underneath you with two very quick hops. You want to turn right, and then there's a small black space separating the tiles that make up the platform you're about to land on. You want to stand there, turn around, and fire a soul. If you line this up correctly, that soul will actually bounce through and kill every enemy in this room. Darkness is not even remotely an issue, and then once you land, you can either damage boost or you can wait until this tentacle is cleared out of the way. But as soon as you get down there, he'll die, and then you'll fall straight down. This removes a lot of the having to travel around the room, so if you're not as comfortable with that aspect of this room, then you can certainly go for this trick. Once again, shoutouts to Patois. So now take a good look. You can see the two tricks side by side. Again, you can see that they really don't save that much time over one or the other. If you can find a more faster or optimal way to do either one of them, power to you. I would just stick with what's more comfortable in the long run. And this tentacle room isn't that much different until you get to the latter portion of it. Approaching the last set of tentacles that you want to dash, you want to stay high up and close to the first one that you dash, so that as you dash it, you can dash quickly to the next one, but more importantly, still be fairly high up that when you do dash it, you can also up dash the third one immediately afterwards. This quick succession of dashes not only clears them out of the way really quickly, but also prevents all the darkness from reaching you before you have a chance to queue up your next Judgment Rush, which will matter as you get into the room 2 rooms away from here. You want to have enough darkness so that you can Judgment Rush as soon as you enter the room. So at full speed, we're looking at the first down, up, then it's get close, down, down, up, Judgment Rush immediately, get to the wall, jump and dash. In those rooms, you're trying to mash Rush out so that you actually use that small bit of darkness from queuing up Rush before any of the little darknesses hit you. And this way you can hopefully have enough darkness to hit this guy with a Judgment Rush. And if you don't have enough darkness for that, there is another way to get through this room. Basically, you can still also pick up the money. It's a little bit slower because you have to wait until you fall to the bottom here. But you're going to grind out and you're going to jump as you approach the Duck Knight. Now, you'll either get hit by the anchor or the big anchor. Wouldn't matter. As long as it actually kills the Duck Knight, you can still get the money. If you fail to kill the Duck Knight like this, I value the time more than the gold itself. And that's because in this next room there is hidden wall money. There is 200 very easily accessible right here. If you really need an extra 200 to hit that 16 to 1700 mark, you can just keep going, and there is another 200 that you can hit behind 2 more hidden walls. I'm not going to go into detail about how to make it through the 420 chase sequence here. You should already know how to get through this room, and most runners have their own way of getting through. At the very least, you can always just do dash attacks on the angler chest. I feel like that's bad juju. I'm not going to recommend it, but most importantly, at the end, you want to try and leave those first 2 bubbles intact. No matter which kill you're going for, you'll find that these bubbles act as a firm safety net to catch you in case you should get a final dash attack that kills the 420 fish and then ends up sending you downwards. So this is the new way where you could potentially get some more hits here. You basically are trying to get as many rebounds as you can off of these Bounding Souls, constantly going not only twice but a third time through, which can be very fast if you get lucky like I did here. And if you don't feel like you should be going for that method, Then the other way of doing so is by lining yourself up. And for this one, 420 needs to be a little closer to the left-hand side, but you can see that I can basically fire all 4 basketballs. They'll all come back and ricochet. So they all should get 8 hits. You'll get 3 bounces, and then you only need 1 more attack. So for this room, it's a slight change to it. If you want to use Bending Soul, you can still go and do it the old way if you want to, but in this room what I like to do is I'll dash attack the light orb from the snail, and then I'll shoot a basketball to do 1 hit on it, clear it out of the way with a slash, and then I can cut the dirt and grind on past it. This is slightly faster as you get to this wall a little bit sooner than if you simply dash attack the following orb from the snail's second attack. Another nice little change was this one found by Patois, is that you can actually dash attack the dirt clod on the same swing in your first jump. And this is a neat little pair of tricks. The first one, very simple. You can just use a Bounding Soul to activate this lever a little more quickly. Not exactly always useful, because you do have to wait on the missiles a little bit, so sometimes they can force you to wait. Regardless. However, this one was found by a Zulag, where you do a short hop. See, this missile is going to get a little bit in the way. Short hop to jump off of this wall instead of climbing up to the top, and that'll allow you to just immediately start grinding on this missile instead of having to get to the top and then start another grind from up there. Now the Bertha room has changed up considerably, and this was found by Taiwan Ninja. You're going to try and get a full hop to clear over this pit, because that prevents you from losing your speed, which is really important as you make it into this room. You want to jump into the transition so that you can quickly wiggle if you have to, land on that first set of floating buoys, and then jump straight over Bertha onto the third set of buoys. If you find that you didn't have enough speed to clear that jump, you probably ledge hopped at some point, so make sure that you find the timing and spacing for that jump. Now if you're keeping pace, it's possible to get a whiff dash attack on Bertha here. If you manage to time this out right or not, it doesn't really matter. I didn't get it here, it's no big deal. It's just a little bit slower, so it's something you just ideally want to try and get. More importantly, you want to make sure that you actually manage to get this jump here. I messed it up in the first run through, but you want to try and get up here, climb up this wall just a little bit, and then use a cut to drop down, turn, bounce off of Bertha once, and then Judgment Rush buffer at least once here. Do 1 more dash attack off Bertha. This will prevent her from giving you a bad time while you wait on the anchor. This is extremely consistent, very regularly, no matter how she manages to bounce or whatnot. So long as you do a bounce, Judgment Rush buffer, and then bounce, you should be able to get out of this room safe and sound. Now if you jump into this transition, you can drop down and grab the checkpoint really easily without having to slow down. Otherwise, just jump clear over the entire platform, cut the dirt blocks out of the way, jump before you hit the purple duck knight. This way you'll break the bubbles and you'll immediately start falling down. Saving the Judgment Rush here allows you to use it in the missile room should you need to buffer. Now ideally in this last missile room, if you can, you'll be grinding with the missile. So if you see that you have an opportunity to ride atop it, make sure you slow down just a little bit so that you can get a little bit of a grind. It's moving forward, so you grinding will be very fast. Try and get used to that speed. Otherwise you can clear all of these jumps without the missile. And it's entirely safe because Rail Mail protects you from dying on spikes. If you should be in the air and you don't want to do this wiggle, then you could also use Judgment Rush stalling. There is a darkness pickup there, so you can just wait for the next missile to swing on by. And if you're looking for food directly above that darkness drop, there is a turkey hidden behind the wall. And Treasure Knight is literally one of the easiest kills for Bounding Soul. All you do is walk forward, let his anchor clobber you, and this will give you the spacing that you need to just fire 4 of your Bounding Souls. So this means that you do need all of your darkness. Make sure that you have full darkness before you enter this room. Now once you've fired your volley of basketballs, turn around, hit him once, turn right, hit him again, walk up to him, and then you want to try and hit him as much as you can before you chase him in the air. You want to make sure that all of these Bounding Souls get rebounded into him. At the very least, you want to have no more than like 3 or 4 hits left, and you want to make sure that you can just fire your last couple of Bounding Souls at him when he's on the floor. You should always have enough mana to fire 3 of them, and keep in mind, again, the fight ends when he hits the ground and when you're on the ground. Also note that you want to be able to take that full heart of damage from the first anchor. So here we go. Walk forward, ow, 1, 2, 3, 4, hit, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just bounce off of him as much as you can. And then make sure you kill him at the bottom of the screen. Super simple kill, and Iron Whale is the first of many stages to be massively improved by the Bounding Souls inclusion. So hopefully you had 2,000 gold going into that fight. I had 2,100. Again, that extra 200 gem that I picked up partway through really helped me out. Purchased a Darkness Wisp from Missy, and then we're moving on to the Lich Yard. If for whatever reason you don't have the money for it, again, remember your Juice Bar Bros. If you still haven't accessed them, they're up there, and there's 1,200 gold waiting for you. That's it for now. Until the next time, stay spooky.